Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a big one. It's probably the single biggest investment decision a lot of professionals are facing right now in 2025. Should you sink all that precious time and, let's be honest, treasure into the traditional academic titles? You know, the master's degree, the classic university degree.
The heavy armor.
The heavy armor, exactly. Or should you go for the fast-track power of professional certifications? The AWS, the PMP, the Google certs.
Right. And it's not really just a debate anymore, is it? It feels more like a genuine structural shift happening in the labor market. The sheer speed of change, it just demands a new way of thinking about education. So our mission today really is to cut through all that noise.
Okay.
We're going to look at the economic return on investment, the ROI, and the employability of each path. And we're using hard data updated through 2025 from sources like the World Economic Forum and LinkedIn.
And to frame this whole conversation, we're going to use a metaphor that I think makes this all immediately clear. Just think of your career for a moment as this big open-world video game.
That is a perfect way to look at it, because you absolutely need different tools for different parts of the game.
Exactly. So if you look at those traditional academic titles, that 4-year degree, the master's, those are your foundational assets. They are, like we said, your epic, legendary armor. They cost a ton of gold. They take years to actually equip. But once you have that armor on, you get this universal recognition. You're officially the level 80 knight, no matter what map you're on.
Right. But then the certifications, those specialized skills like, a project management professional, a PMP or a CFA, those are the quick skills you buy with gems. You get them in weeks or months. The cost is way, way lower. And they give you these very specific, highly demanded powers for certain maps or, certain jobs and certain companies.
So the big takeaway right from the start is they are not enemies. They're just different tools for different moments in your career. Let's start with where those quick tools are really winning right now.
Okay, so we have to start with just the sheer urgency in the job market. If you look at the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs 2025 report, the main takeaway is, well, it's pretty stark. 50% of the entire global workforce will need some serious reskilling or upskilling in the next 5 years.
Wait, 50%? Half?
Half of all workers, yes.
That statistic is genuinely alarming. I mean, it points to this massive shelf life problem for what we already know. If half of us need new skills, how are we supposed to get them? I mean, are employers expecting us to go back for a 4-year degree every 5 years?
No, not at all. That's totally impossible. The report actually notes that 94% of employers expect their employees to pick up new skills, but, and this is the key part, they want it to happen fast.
On the job? Or
either on the job or independently. And crucially, when they look for proof that you have a new skill, they want to see a concrete certification. They want proof of a specific applied skill that solves a problem they have today. Not just, proof of general academic knowledge.
And this shift, I guess this is rewriting how hiring managers are even using platforms like LinkedIn.
Oh, completely. The LinkedIn economic graph data from 2024 showed that profiles with relevant certifications, let's say an AWS certification for a cloud role, they grew 42% faster.
22%.
Yeah, in connections and, more importantly, in interview invitations compared to profiles that just listed a traditional degree.
So the market is rewarding that speed, that immediate specialization.
It has to, because recruiters just don't have time. Which brings us to this fascinating and kind of depressing statistic from an eye-tracking study done last year.
Okay.
Recruiters spend, on average, only 7.4 seconds reviewing a CV.
7.4 seconds. That's less time than it takes to even read a full sentence.
Yeah.
You're basically in a fight for 7 seconds of attention.
Exactly. And in that tiny window, they are not scanning your master's thesis abstract. They're hunting for visual markers, keywords that scream competency.
So things like AWS Certified Solutions Architect or Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate.
They're like neon signs. Whereas a general Master of Business Administration, well, that might require more digging, and the recruiter just doesn't have time for it. The certificate gets the immediate callback.
Okay, that is some persuasive data on speed. But let's get to the money, the economics of it. Investing in a career has to have a measurable return. So let's talk cost, time, and that ROI timeline.
Right, and this is where the math really shifts dramatically. I mean, think about a traditional university degree. You're investing 4 full years of your time. The cost, Easily 20,000 to 50,000 or even more.
And we can't forget the opportunity costs, right? Those 4 years are also 4 years of lost income. You're not just paying tuition, you're actively delaying your entry into the workforce.
Absolutely. A huge point. And when you factor that in, the typical ROI timeline, so the time until that investment really starts paying off beyond what you would have earned anyway,
Yeah.
it stretches to 8 to 12 years. It is a massive long-term bet.
8 to 12 years. Okay, so now contrast that with something more specialized. An executive master's, maybe?
That's already better. You cut the time to 1 or 2 years. Costs are maybe 10,000 to 35,000 years, and the ROI comes down to 4 to 7 years. So an improvement, but still a multi-year investment.
Okay, now for the certifications.
Right. Now, look at something like the Google professional certificates you can get on Coursera. We are talking 3 to 6 months of focused work.
And the cost?
Between maybe 300 and 600 a year, and the typical ROI hits in just 12 to 24 months.
12 to 24 months, not years.
Months. That time to value is just incredibly compelling.
Even for the really tough, high-stakes tech certs.
Yeah.
Like AWS or Cisco. What are we looking at there?
Still much faster. You're looking at maybe 4 to 12 months of prep, a cost of 1,000 euros to 3,500 euros, and the ROI timeline is still just 18 to 36 months. They start delivering financial results much, much faster.
And you have salary data to back this up, right?
We do. Let's take 2 examples. First, Europe. If we look at data from, say, the Spanish market, an average university grad starts around 29,800 euros a year. A master's gives you a bump of maybe 18 to 25%, so you get to 35,000, maybe 42,000.
Which is solid, but what happens when you add in a specific certification?
So a professional with that Google Data Analytics cert plus just 18 months of experience can already be earning 38,000 to 45,000. They've already caught up.
Wow.
And if you get something more advanced, like the AWS Solutions Architect Professional Certification, with 2 or 3 years of experience, we're seeing salaries from 55,000 up to 80,000.
So that specialized skill quickly just blows past the general master's degree bump.
In terms of salary, yes. And this holds true globally. If we look at Latin America, the impact in project management is enormous. In Mexico, getting your PMP, that's the Project Management Professional Cert, that can increase your salary on projects by 35 to 60%.
60%.
60%. And similarly, in Colombia, a certified Scrum Master earns 40 to 55% more than a project manager without that specific skill. It's an immediate, verifiable multiplier on your value.
Okay, so the certs are winning on speed, on cost, on immediate salary lift.
Oh, okay.
But let's push back a little here. What about the legendary armor, the academic title? What does it provide that a certification can't touch? There has to be a reason for that huge 8 to 12-year ROI.
That is the essential question, and the answer is the academic title is mandatory when the profession is regulated by law. There's no shortcut.
Oh.
You want to be a practicing lawyer, a licensed architect, a clinical psychologist, a civil engineer. In most countries, the degree is the gatekeeper. No title, no practice, period. The armor is required to even enter the game.
So those are the non-negotiables. What about those prestige roles you mentioned earlier, like consulting or finance?
They still dominate there. In traditional prestige roles like research, university teaching, and especially in sectors like strategic consulting, your McKinseys, Bains, BCGs, or in certain investment banking roles, they still heavily prefer top master's degrees.
An MBA from a top school.
Exactly. An MBA from an IIS, an Assad, or an IE. For those roles, the prestige, the rigorous foundation, and that elite network are a core part of what the employer is buying.
That makes sense. So the degree is selling the network, the broad critical thinking, which raises the counterpoint. Aren't certifications kind of easier to fake?
Yeah.
And don't they get outdated much faster than a whole degree?
That's their biggest limitation, yes. And it's a critical point. Certifications are quicker, but they're also more volatile. A cloud certification from 5 years ago might be totally obsolete today.
Right.
But that volatility is precisely why they're so valuable in sectors that are defined by constant change. Like the entire world of technology, cloud, cybersecurity, data science, AI, DevOps. These fields change not just yearly, but quarterly. A university syllabus written 4 years ago can't possibly keep up. A modern certificate proves you are current right now.
And it's not just deep tech, right? It's also in modern business practices.
For sure. Digital marketing, UX UI design, agile methodologies. All these fields are driven by certifications because speed is everything.
This also seems like the secret weapon for career switchers.
It is the golden ticket. If you're, say, an industrial engineer and you want to pivot into tech, getting another 4-year degree is just not feasible. But you can leverage your engineering brain with a Google Project Management cert or an AWS Cloud Practitioner cert, and you can enter that new world in just a few months.
And the ultimate sign that skills are winning is that the big companies are actually funding this. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, IBM, Cisco. They all pay for their employees to get certified in their tech.
They're signaling to the market that they will pay top dollar for the immediate proven skill. They're basically creating their own internal economies of specialization, bypassing the traditional academic route for their own needs.
Okay, so if we pull all of this together, the speed, the ROI, the regulated jobs, what is the ultimate actionable strategy for someone listening right now facing this choice?
The conclusion is that you can't see them as enemies. You have to see them as a strategic alliance. I think the most effective combination for the 2025 job market is a solid base academic title, your legendary armor, plus a stack of potent professional certifications that you commit to updating every 2 or 3 years.
I really like that idea of a stack of skills. It treats your career like an evolving portfolio, not some static thing you finished a decade ago.
Yeah.
So let's make this really actual. Let's talk about the 70-30 rule of effort.
The 70-30 rule is a really practical way to think about where to put your energy and your money.
So 70% of your focus should go toward training that opens doors quickly and pays the bills now. That means in-demand certifications and real-world projects. This is your immediate income driver. This is what keeps you relevant.
So that 70% is maybe spending 6 months on a data science boot camp, getting your PMP, and immediately seeing a 40% raise.
Exactly. And the other 30%.
That 30% is for deep learning and long-term prestige. That's your master's, your executive education, maybe a doctorate down the line. That's your investment in universal credibility, in leadership potential, and in building that network that will pay off 10 or 15 years from now.
So the strategy acknowledges the reality. The degree sets your foundation and opens certain doors, but the certification is what gets you past that 7.4-second test and ensures you're valuable today.
Right. The key is understanding which tool to equip for the objective right in front of you.
Because your career is that continuous open-world game. Sometimes you need the legendary armor, and sometimes you just need the quick climbing hook to get over the next wall. Knowing which one to pull out makes all the difference.
And that strategic mindset leads us right to the challenges we want to leave you with. If this deep dive has sparked something, we really want you to apply it immediately.
I have 2 specific challenges for you listening. The first one is what we're calling the 100-hour commitment. Choose one foundational certification in an area that interests you, maybe AWS Cloud Practitioner or an agile one like Scrum Master, and just commit 100 hours of focused study to it in the next 90 days. We promise that one small investment will dramatically change your visibility on platforms like LinkedIn.
And the second challenge is the Hire Tomorrow test. Right after this, open your browser and look up 10 job postings for a role you dream of having. And just be honest and count. How many of them require a mandatory specific academic title versus how many ask for a specific certification or just equivalent experience?
You might be really, really surprised by the results, and those results will give you the clearest possible map for where you should be putting your energy and your money in 2026.
Understanding which tool to equip for which goal is the essential key to career acceleration in this new market. Equip yourself well.
We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.